Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for checking us out again. Don't have Tom with us tonight, but I do have my friend Crunch. Known him a long time.
I'm here, present.
What's up?
How are you, bro?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Been a rough week, and of course we got Alan.
Hey, how you doing?
The engineer.
I am an engineer.
the running joke. So yeah, we
excuse the cough and the funny sounding voice, but I did make it.
Yeah, I'm still a little scratchy, a little more gravelly than I normally am. It's getting better, but it just, man, I picked that shit up in Las Vegas and it followed me. And it's
Oh, that's where I got it. You son of a
might
bitch.
have got it from me. The guy, the guy that came from the UK over there, he actually sent me a text message the other day that he's went to the hospital because he got worse and worse and worse.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so it was. I can't remember what he called it. They had some fucked up name. Like they got dumb stuff they say. Like they call things gentleman's sausage and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, everything's good.
Okay.
And then actually, probably the most interesting thing today about the broadcast is we have somebody that I've known forever and ever and ever. I mean, I think I met this cat when I was probably maybe 17, 18, 19 area, somewhere right around there. Mm-hmm. Anthony DiSomma.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Great
How are
to be
you?
Here.
You still look nervous, dude. I'm going to goof on you because if I goof on you, it's going to make you more relaxed. I don't want you to be nervous.
I'm not. I'm just sitting here.
Man, I guess we'll go back here. We'll start when I met you before, we get into the street race side of things and where you progress to now. What brought you into the shop initially? Was it that green Nova? Is that what the first thing was?
I had the Ventura first.
Oh yeah,
remember,
the Ventura.
That was
That's
a street car.
right. It was the Ventura. I forgot about that.
I don't remember. I don't know. I probably needed like a coil, big yellow coil. Your father used to call it.
It was funny. We just talked about the big yellow coil when I was telling a DFI story.
Mm-hmm.
That, cars got to be fast. Got a big yellow coil.
Yeah.
I remember my father telling me, I don't ever want you to race on the street. But if you ever see some guy open his hood and he's got a big yellow coil mount on the firewall, race the guy immediately because he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Yeah, that was
That's
my
good
dad.
advice. Good advice.
So
remember
yeah,
that.
I forgot that was a Ventura.
Yeah. That was my street car. It had a small lock in it.
Yep, that was probably the first time. Because I thought the first car was a green Nova.
Well, it was. That was the race car.
Yeah,
I never drove that in the street. That was the race car. We built that motor. I built that motor when I worked at the shop.
did you?
Yeah. About your shop. Remember TK?
I'm trying to think. God, I
I was going
don't.
to say, that's about as early as I remember. You had this 406 you were building forever.
Now the thing that makes it amazing to me is, and this is going to sound a little weird, but like I got to watch you go from the guy that would be like, I got a question. How do I do this? How do I do that? To where you are now. I mean, I'm not trying to blow your head up or anything, but I mean, Jesus Christ, dude, you're racing.
That's a beautiful progression.
Yeah, you're racing real stuff. You're building real stuff.
Yeah. No, I did. It kind of like grew faster than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I was doing the stuff at the gas station on the side.
Yeah.
Then one guy's like, "Oh, can you do it for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then kept going, and now it's not a hobby anymore.
Yeah.
It's.
And you got the whole cast of characters that were always around, like German and, Pete Rigetti and all these characters.
I still see them.
Do you?
Yeah.
All these characters. Yeah, that's funny. All right. Well, since the focus of this is always about racing and what started out primarily as street racing and now has progressed to a lot of fast guys race at the track. I mean, Crunch, you haven't been on the street in a long time.
My last race, I said that last podcast.
Yep.
2000, the year 2000 was my last street race.
Yep.
And during that race, I realized I'm going entirely too fast to be gambling on the street.
Yeah.
With this car.
Yeah.
So,
we got, like we said, we've all got too much to lose. Like, right. I mean, you wouldn't street race now, would you, for nothing?
No.
Even if you knew you had it, you wouldn't do it.
Because you just go to the track, shut the clocks off like they do now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why would you?
Anthony's too fast at the track now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
have to build something else on the moon now for this guy.
I know there's been numerous times that I've talked to him and said, how fast you going? And he told me, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, dude, be careful. Because, I mean, that's just no joke. I mean, it's nice to hear that you're running eighth stuff because, I mean, it's still no joke, but I couldn't picture running them damn things out the back of the quarter.
Mile.
No, I remember when I first went, I had the single turbo in my Mustang, and we first went like 206.
Yeah.
We came by the shop, and I told your dad, or you showed the video to your dad.
Yeah.
I walked in the shop to get something, and he was like, Anthony, come here 1 second. And he goes, are you out of your mind? You got to be careful. And he gave me his whole extra,
Yeah. He always liked you, dude.
Yeah.
Always liked you. And, I mean, like a shop environment's a rough environment. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's, there's always a lot of teasing. I mean, we had like Joe and Matt always teasing each other and teasing you. I mean, it was crazy. But yeah, he always liked you. It was.
No, it was like a family. Whenever Mike would get in trouble, I would get in trouble.
Wait, what did you guys do?
Yeah, exactly. I remember remember the nitrous manifold UPS guy? Remember the UPS guy was stealing money?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We had a,
UPS.
Yeah.
I got to tell that story real quick.
Was it when you could still use cash?
Yeah.
Back at UPS. Now it's like checks
Oh,
only.
okay.
Right.
I got you.
So was that your manifold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the fogger on it.
Yep. Now, did you send a manifold there and he did it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's what happened.
NOS. Right.
We had sent his manifold out to have it plumbed, and I didn't remember if it was his manifold or we ordered it, but they plumbed it and they sent it back.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the UPS guy back then, you could pay him with cash, like actual cash, green money. They don't do that anymore.
Right.
I guess the guy was saying he delivered stuff and like just selling it. I guess.
No, you know what he was doing? He would take the money and be like, "Oh, they weren't there," and he would use the money for like the week,
Yeah.
and then have to replace it when I got paid.
Oh yeah,
that's
that's
what it
right.
was.
A payday loan.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Nice.
So what he was doing is he was using money. He was using it like a float
Mm-hmm.
that he got this cash. So probably, I guess the only way he'd get the cash is if he got the cash from the other people, and then their packages
Ponzi
weren't
scheme.
delivered. Yeah. But sooner or later it got caught up. And I remember those guys came to the shop and it was like UPS, like Secret Service or some shit. And they were like douchebags. And I'm like, look, dude, we don't have it.
Did they wear brown suits too?
No, but they were pretty serious. They were hostile, right? Weren't they?
I wasn't there.
Yeah, they were like dickheads. They're like, look, we're going to get to the bottom of this. You're going to get charged. I was like, fuck you. We didn't steal anything. And it turned out it was the driver. Never said they were sorry or nothing.
Wow.
And Ralph called me. He's like, "Anthony, I'm just gonna ask, what are you and Mike involved in?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you talking about, Ralph?" They came here and they said, "You didn't pay. You owe them $1,500, whatever it was
Yeah.
at that time." And I'm like, "Ralph, I came there. I asked Michael called me and said the guy will be here at 2:00. Come here with the cash." I came there and gave it to the UPS driver. "I don't know what you and Mike are involved in, but you better straighten it out."
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow or another, it was always, we were at the root of the problem. But, that's, I mean, we have stories like that go on for hours and hours and hours, but it ain't really it'll be entertaining. Some of it will be. But the main thing is I wasn't a street racer. I didn't go to Newark.
No.
I didn't do any of that shit. Like the only street racer I knew was like John Steffens and I guess Fat Kevin, had
Yeah.
Grand National.
I started going there somehow. I don't know why.
That's what
Craig.
was it Craig Russell?
When he left me on the highway, the first night we went there. We went with Craig's car. We went there one night. He's like, "Let's go to the hole." I'm like, "The hole? What the hell's that?"
Yeah.
Street race. And we had his car with the Chevy in it with the hidden nitrous, of course, like everybody. And we go there. I get in the car with him. We drive to the highway. I get out. I forgot who he raced. I forgot who it was. So we raced. I don't remember if we won or lost. I don't remember. So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like, dude, I got no way to get back." I didn't know anybody there. It was like me and him.
So you came with him and you were at like the starting line. Everybody left and then you were just
Yeah. So
Wow.
John, remember Johnny with the tow truck?
Right.
He was there. He's like, "You need a ride?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he
Okay.
brought me back. And then I don't remember what happened. But then we started like, we got to go back. Let's go back. Let's
Now
go
you were
back.
hooked.
And
You were hooked then.
Yeah, exactly.
And that must have been when I met him.
yeah.
When they pulled up in the Mustang and they telling us that, it's his girlfriend's car.
Yeah.
How fast can it be?
No, we were there before that though.
That was before that?
No, it was Craig's car. Remember Buckwheat?
Right, buckwheat.
And then before that, when did I bring her car out? Because we had Keith Markey,
Yeah, I remember.
all them guys, Tony Sciato, all those guys with the Mustangs we did. And
Yeah, I
German.
remember walking up to that car saying to myself, so his girlfriend has M&H's. Something wasn't right. Something wasn't right.
It was her car though. I wasn't lying.
Yeah, I know. But, we had fun back then.
Yeah.
And the segment that we're doing now is fun for us because a guy like yourself, people don't know that you started in the street racing or you were even interested in the street racing aspect. When they look at a lot of guys now. We were talking about Phil Schuler. I was on Facebook going back and forth in a topic, and Phil Schuler said, "Crunch, I used to see you guys at the hole."
Now fill
And I said,
everybody in on who Phil Schuler is.
NHRA dude,
Yep.
big time Phil Schuler. So I'm saying, you used to be at the Hole. He started naming stuff, talking about going to get food out of the diner at the Hole. I said, oh, Lord, this guy. So you never know who and what transpired into what we are now as older adults.
Yeah.
And,
the number of people that got their start, whether it was on the street or whether it was racing their mom's station wagon in Englishtown as a bracket car.
Wait, that was basically, street racing was probably the first, I don't care who it is, they started heads-up racing on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I bracket raced before street race, but that, I remember your dad used to say, why don't you do something that matters?
Yeah.
So your dad was just totally against the street racing stuff.
Well, not only was he against, look, I mean, I'm gonna put this out, and I'm probably gonna offend a whole bunch of our listeners, but look, it gives them a reason to hate me. We were always very against bracket racing. We used to call the permanent dial guys permanent dial jerk-offs, and that's really, it was kind of unfair, because I'm sure it's very hard to go 890 or 990 or whatever class is
whatever class you dial in or index.
Yeah, I'm sure it's hard, but
and the fun for them is probably something that they individually understand. Right.
And I've got some good friends that do that kind of stuff, like Doofus. I mean, we could have Doofus in here. He might be, because boy, he's a goofy motherfucker. But he won the championship, I guess, at Island?
Oh, okay.
Because I guess Island did open. They were closed and they opened again or whatever. That's a time warp.
They open again, yeah.
He won like some kind of bracket thing or whatever. But I mean, look, he's doing well for himself.
He's a car guy.
He's having fun. But we always looked at it, and Anthony will certainly agree with this, that like we did super stock, we did stock. We cared about records. We cared about class elimination days, like when you're racing class.
Right.
We never cared that I went 10 rounds. A big deal. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. The thing that we were always concerned about was real performance. Like, how good could you make this thing?
Right.
So when, like, my father would say something to Anthony, like, why don't you do something that matters? He meant something with rules, something that there wasn't some kind of constraint that you had to work within that gives the other guy an advantage. Because that's all bracket racing did.
Okay.
Bracket racing gave people that couldn't win the ability to win,
or it leveled the playing field for people to be more creative than each other, and you had to figure that part out.
Yep. Because back when super stock was like pro stock is, the same people were always winning. The same people were always doing well, and it really hurt the sport. If everything was heads up, and you didn't have either the cubic money or the cubic brain power of the other people, you didn't get beat.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what happened. So bracket racing and the dial certainly saved the sport. It really did, for sure. I mean, did you ever do any dial stuff with any of your guys? Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Alan, the engineer?
Yes, that's me. No, I did it for years and years and years while I was going to school. And, I was the guy that, would help out a super comp guy as much as I'd help out a pro stock or a comp guy. Just, if they asked and I was wearing the shirt, with Moroso, I don't care. I'll help you.
Yeah, and it's hard because, again, I don't really mean to offend those guys, but, because of my background, it was always performance within roles is what, we looked for. That's what we did. Like, I remember, and Anthony's going to know exactly what I'm talking about, every time that there was a national event going on, and this is going back before the internet or whatever, we'd be getting reports, and he'd have like a dry race board or whatever, and we'd be writing in the top 16 qualifiers of super stock and who was where and how many guys we had in the top. I remember there was one hanging forever on the door that went from the front to the back that had all three Butlers. Dick Butler and his two kids were all in the top 8. And that's what got us as car guys.
Right.
The overall, how good can we do?
Right.
But you took all this to a completely new level, Anthony. I mean, now you're racing where there really aren't rules, but I certainly understand how hard it gets when you get into where you are.
Yeah. Well, there is rules. Different classes have different rules, but there used to be when the ADRL, which collapsed, and they had basically a class that was pro extreme, which there was no rules, no weight, this and that, nothing. Okay. Now, pro extreme has a class. The pro extreme class actually, there's a minimum weight. That's it. Okay. But you can run any blower, any turbos. There's no nitrous cars in it, and that's it. But they have a nitrous class now, and then they have the pro boost class, which we run now. Right. Which is actually, it's kind of like NHRA pro mod, but 8th mile. The only difference is we have to run 88 millimeter turbos compared to 94s.
Now you
we have
see,
to run 94. Sorry.
88s and 90. That's in term of turbo size.
Yeah, sorry. We can run 94s or 88s.
Right.
AHRA has to run 88s.
well, you see, you know what's so funny? Like looking at this stuff from a guy who didn't ever get into this side of it. It's almost like, you know what I feel like? I feel like a broad whose, husband or boyfriend just said, watch this football game. Because there's so much backstory that you don't know.
Well, that's how I felt when Tom was talking about the half mile racing.
Yeah.
But it started getting interesting because we started thinking how we could go into it and make it better and go faster. It's like,
Yep.
the car guys always want to know, how can I beat the next guy?
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got
So that's
like
good.
all these classes. I didn't mean to say there were no rules. I mean, because I know, but like other than like, let's say in the turbo cars and obvious rules, like weight rules or whatever, I guess the millimeter size is inducer size, right? That's
Yeah.
all it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other rules? Displacement?
No, there's
So it's
no-
not displacement
Number
by
of gears,
weight or...
ratio, tire size.
No, it's just weight.
Yeah. The body has to have a
Power
certain
adder,
silhouette.
power adder limits. Like in our class, you can't run a screw blower. You got to run a roost blower,
Okay.
or you run 88 or 94 millimeter turbos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The nitrous class, I think they might have they were supposed to put a cubic inch limit rule on it because now the motors are 900,000 inches.
Yeah.
They're getting big.
Yeah.
This goes back to what we were talking about.
Sonny Leonard with the
Yeah, this goes back. I mean, Anthony, when we were back, if you're talking about Newark, and you saw a guy with a big block back then, how big could it have possibly been?
Yeah.
What could it have been? Maybe 550?
Let's say 572 or something. You know what I mean?
yeah 565.
Oh my God, remember the 632s? Oh my God, he got a 632.
that was
Yeah.
a big motor back then.
That's like a street car now.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a pump gas 632 right now for a customer.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably has air conditioning on it.
No, he wants to make 1,000 on pump gas.
Wow.
So, but
Wow, and actually run up to the pump
Yeah.
and put the pump gas in and do whatever.
yeah.
No detonation. That's good. That's the sign of the times and progression.
Yep. And you see those kinds of things, I mean, they just weren't possible back then.
No.
I mean, so that's why it's so amazing for you to go, like you went kind of like I saw a lot of stuff. You started when this stuff didn't even exist.
No.
That like the fuel injection stuff was just coming to be. And, we've talked about the progression of everything from the chassis and the injectors.
Stock suspension progression.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, imagine
Yeah.
that, the
The
stock suspension stuff.
progression is just amazing over time. Then I was telling Mike about Mike Brown and his crew, the firm. And those guys are flying all motor small block Fords, stock suspension, flying.
Now you've got your guys that are the guys we talked about that are stock suspension guys. What the
275, the Brooders.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bruters are tough.
Yeah. I mean, they go, now, they're 3,000 pounds,
Right.
right? 30, no, I'm sorry. What do they weigh? I think they weigh 3250. Single turbo, small block Ford. They've been 108 60 foot.
Wow.
Think about that. 108
That's a Pro Mod 60 foot
Yeah.
from back in the
and back in the day.
early 2000s.
Well, the one nitrous guy in the class, he's been 103 or 4. Nitrous car leaf springs.
Really?
Ron Rhodes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Rhodes, 68 Camaro.
Yeah.
Now, how much can he do with the leaf springs? Just like traction bar? Is
I
that
don't
right?
even know. I never looked.
Yeah.
It, but
He has the
Wow.
Calvert
Yeah,
traction bar.
Caltrax. That's
All right.
it.
Caltrax.
All right.
it's amazing.
So this is how far this stuff has come since the times that we fucked around in the street.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Now we have to put on record
And now-
though, for Tom
Yeah.
that he doesn't believe about the 4,000 horsepower, right?
Yeah.
and
well,
one thing too, those numbers, 60 foots, are on drag radials,
right.
not slicks.
Now, let me just go back to that real quick so we don't bounce around too much. The 275 tire, is that like the quote unquote air quotes of 10 and a half?
Yeah, it's 275 60, like you'd put on your
Yeah.
stock Camaro when back in the
But
day.
is it really a 275 60? Because they had these 10 and a halves and then they made a 10 and a half W.
Yeah, the W's 11 too. That's
Yeah.
that's the other class that we run, the Outlaw 10.5, which that's another one we do.
So they're
But-
10 and a half's really 11 and a half.
It's 11 too,
11
yeah.
too, right?
33 inches tall, but
Well, it says W, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Numbers don't matter now.
yeah, it's not. It's, yeah.
So how wide is the 275?
Well, the funny thing is we put it on a 12-inch rim,
Okay.
so it looks funny. It's like, pfft.
Yeah.
I think they're probably 10.
I was going to say 9.6, I think is.
Yeah,
the-
Contact patch
Yeah.
probably around 10, I would say.
Yeah. So it's a real
Yeah.
275 size
Yeah.
tire. Okay.
And it's a DOT,
Right. Now, what Cruncher brought up is when we talked about, see, what started this whole conversation was the half-mile stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should save the entire half-mile conversation when Anthony can come back and Tom's here, because it's going to get pretty good.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be
But,
good.
I don't know, and I lose track. I think our first episode contained the mile-per-hour discussion. Yeah, it did at the end, because I remember listening to it. All right. You had told me that there was a mile an hour you thought one of these good things would go if they ran them out the quarter. And what do you think it is?
Well, we know one of the other cars that ran in our class.
On par with you, right? Like same class? Okay.
Like we put in the 8th mile, we went 219.
Right.
You know what I mean? They went 220.
Okay.
They ran out the quarter and went 273.
Okay. Now I think if we went back on the tape,
Wow.
or on the previous,
that's I think the number you used.
I think I said it was like probably right around 275. I said like probably 271, 275, somewhere around there. And he was like, no.
Right. He didn't believe it. He couldn't fathom that speed.
Yeah, you can look up online. You can say it. You know?
Yeah. And I'm relatively sure that, we'll just put it on record so Tom knows that I was right. I mean, look, I'm not right. I'm not right because I did something magical. I talked to Anthony before this, so I knew what he had told me. Your motor in that car makes an excess of 4,000, doesn't it?
I would say yes, but we never dynoed it. We're just looking how fast it goes. Really, what dyno are you going to put it on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Gotcha.
I don't think there's anything that'll...
No, there's probably not. I mean, maybe there's some specialized
There's
stuff.
like inertia dynos and stuff, but I don't know how much power they could...
Dale Hall.
handle.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I mean, what would that be?
I'd hate to be on a dyno with something like that, making 4,000.
No, especially on an inertia dyno, because
I won't
just
stand in
tears
that
the
room.
shit up.
No.
I'm not standing in the room with a 4,000 horsepower motor on the dyno.
No, hell no.
I've been in there with one that was way less than that, and when it exploded, it was just ugly.
Yeah, and I've been in the room, and we always used to call it, like Anthony will know about this too, the dyno room was kind of right in line with where we'd like all hang out and eat lunch and everything. And
and the bathroom.
And the bathroom. Well, the bathroom was behind. But the bad area that if anything ever happened flywheel wise was like kind of right where we all sat. Yeah. Because you hear these stories of flywheels coming out of a dyno and going through the wall, through cinder blocks, into a parked car on the outside. And it would have went right through all of us.
Wow.
But I mean,
It happened at M2.
Did they? They actually had one go bad?
Flywheel, the ring gear flew off.
Where'd it go?
Through the wall and right into like the 30.
Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't a cinder block wall. It was
just a ring gear.
Yeah, just a ring gear. But it ripped a hole in the wall like pretty big.
Yeah,
What kind of horsepower
let's get some
numbers were they
steel
trying
for
to
that.
make on
No,
that?
it was a big block modified thing, 800, something,
Yeah.
900. It wasn't nothing crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's RPM and inertia of what's spinning around. I don't even need to get you into that conversation, do I?
No, let me break out a chalkboard. We'll do the math. No, I just remember the dyno from the bathroom being right there, and then Tommy Kling sneaking in and firing up one of his motors. Is the most evacuated I've ever been, because I swear he started it up.
Well, the
and went
muffler was right there.
Yeah.
The muffler
right
was
up,
right there.
right up to like 9,000 RPM. It was like, whoa! I lost 10 pounds and I'm running.
Yeah. Because like where the exhaust system was, the room that the exhaust went up through, we had an exhaust that to this day, I would still tell you is probably the right way to do it. It was a very large plenum kind of exhaust. It was like ductwork and it was lined and it was filled with like probably mineral wool, now that I know more about it. And so what happened is there was a place where the exhaust went in and they made like a 90-degree turn and it went up a wall. Well, the wall that stack went up was directly behind the bathroom.
Okay.
So if you were sitting there, just reading a magazine, because it's what happens at a car guy place. There's magazines everywhere, and then all of a sudden, bam, something fires up. It's a surprise.
That'll make you jump off a toilet.
Yep. So now that we've clarified the Tom issues that I want, because I'm telling you, this is the conversation that we're gonna have with you involved in the half mile stuff ought to get pretty interesting. Think about where everything started. You couldn't do 90% of what you're doing without electronics.
No.
There's no way that, like between the progression of turbochargers, electronics, that's what made all this possible. Do you still do any carbureted stuff? Like, do you do nitrous stuff for people, or is it?
I would. Not really. My clientele's mostly EFI stuff. I do a lot of NNA stuff.
Yeah.
I do some grudge stuff. You know what I mean? Can't say no names. But.
I wasn't gonna say a couple of the names that I know. I just left it alone.
But no, I do some of that and carbureted stuff, and then But the fuel injection stuff for turbo stuff, you have to, or blower stuff. I've done a blow through,
Yeah.
Carburetor?
no, it was a blow through blower deal.
Oh, okay.
And just people come up to me. It's funny. People come up to me like, hey, I have a customer that has a 738, 4 stages. It's a customer of mine. And he does good. He runs a big tire, that big tire class, and so he's that. But a lot of guys will be at the track like, hey, my car's I don't know, a little funny. I'm like, dude, where's the laptop?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't touching that thing.
Well, it's funny because you and I have talked about it, that a lot of the people that have gotten into the electronics end of things, it almost seems like they don't know enough about
The fundamentals?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, I've always used this example. If you took a kid that was born, let's say 95 or later, and you put him in a vehicle that had a carburetor and it was 10 degrees outside and said, start this.
Wow.
The motherfucker would never get it running.
No.
He'd still be sitting there.
Right.
Because they don't know.
Right.
And it's the same thing. This happened in the beginning of the fuel injected guys. I remember fuel injected guys trying to figure out, like, I remember, God, I'm not going to pick on the particular Ford guy, but the Ford guy that was a blower guy, he was telling me how much timing when we switched over to a whole injected unit instead of using a factory Ford computer. And he was arguing with me that he needed his timing set at, what were they, 0 or 6?
So, 6 or 8 or something.
You see, no, we got to set the timing at 6. And I was like, you're an idiot. I was like, motors don't run at 6. These do. And he argued with me.
Wow.
Because they didn't have the fundamentals.
The fundamentals, right.
I mean, look, we could all pick up a distributor. We could all put it in. We could all get a car to run. But a lot of the fuel injected guys couldn't.
Right. That's just like when you build motors for people and you guys are the engine builders and you give them the exact horsepower. You took your time. You did your craft. You made the horsepower. And then you hand it to someone who can't even get their alternator stuff straightened out.
Yeah.
Can't even get their fuel system to flow the amount of fuel they're going to need to keep the horsepower consistent. And then they run back to the shop and tell you the motor doesn't make the power.
Yeah.
God, you know how many times, and I'm sure you go through it. I don't have to deal with it anymore.
My guys are pretty
sure
good, I'll be honest with you. I have a lot of good clients. Like, a lot of my customers are awesome. Like, they're smart. They're not.
Right, but you're probably telling your clients what to do to make sure they have what they need.
Yeah, they know, I'm pretty good because they'll be like, Ant, what do I need? This, and this. And they know I'm not going to lie to them.
Right.
I'm not trying to make money off them. Unless you can buy it yourself, I don't care.
Yeah, you need this fuel pump. You need this.
Because I want them to look good. Yeah. Because it makes me look good. But
and you're looking good in 2015, sir. You're flying.
No, and you don't have a street weenie clientele.
But there is people that do. So I'm trying to think of some things that happen. Like, they'll call and they'll say something and they'll be like, "Really? Did you really ask me that?" You know what I mean? Like,
break out your best Ralph voice.
Oh my God, I feel like I'll say that. Yeah.
Anthony will tell you there's so many stories of stuff like that. Even some people that have gone places.
Now I heard. I didn't know about it. It was a couple of years ago, right? That you had a bad accident with your enclosed with the car.
Oh, 2006.
Right. And, I heard about the comeback and I read about you came back and everything. And a lot of the people that we were having discussions about, they didn't know I knew you. Mm-hmm. So I was just happy that you're alive and well. You're looking good. You're sitting here. It's 2015. We're all sitting here. Mike is the slimmest and looking like he's in the gym. I'm sitting over here with the gut and all that.
We're in the restaurant. He's in the gym.
Yeah. and I used to be the guy that was racing on foot for money at the remember back then, right? But I was looking at the progression of cars. Like when I was coming up, the big block with a B&M blower with 2 carburetors was a beautiful combination. Now, there's a flat hood.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's under the hood.
Yeah.
But that's the new look. 17-inch front wheels. I see that as a
somebody shows up now with a 671 on a big block. You're going to laugh at them.
Yeah. Right.
Is that in your truck towing your car here?
Yeah, we were talking about the farm truck. I don't know if you watched that. What's that show?
No, I don't watch it.
Street Outlaws.
Street Outlaws. They have the farm truck. It's a big pickup truck with a camper, and
I've seen it like here and there, but I never actually watched it.
So the progression of it all is interesting to have you sitting here, and I've known you. You went from the 302 with the juice all the way to now. You just doing whatever.
Don't forget, I brought this one up that Anthony was one of the first people I know that was a cross dresser. He had
promised not to tell.
Yeah, he had.
Anthony, he's always been a funny guy. This guy is a funny guy.
He had the Mustang with the Chevy in it.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
That was the Pro 50 car I started with. Remember?
Yep.
Because I never even raced the car. I built it.
He built that for Buckwheat too, right? He had a Chevy motor in the Mustang.
Yep.
And then we came right after Buckwheat with our Chevy in the Mustang from Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you might have started that back then because nobody was thinking about putting Chevys in the Mustang.
Yeah, we did that, and then Craig's was first before mine.
Right.
You did
Yeah.
Craig's first?
Yeah,
That was the first one?
Craig's was more of a street car.
And you know why that happened? Because even back then, Ford stuff was more expensive. It was more difficult.
Right.
Heads weren't as good.
It's
Nothing
still,
was as
it's still
good.
more expensive, isn't it?
About the same now.
Yeah,
About the
they're
same now.
things are probably leveling out.
Yeah, they're all the same.
I know you.
Yeah,
Well, now
getting
really
bigger is cheaper on a Chevy.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll tell you, once you get to a certain level, they're all same. Most of it's like small block Ford stuff is like Chevy was.
Yeah.
You go to like back in the day, I remember joking. Everybody used to, like someone had a Ford, and I'd be like, "Where's your car?" "Oh, I broke a valve cover gasket or something stupid."
Yeah.
And they're like, "We're not like your Chevy guys. You just go to 7-Eleven and get one."
Yeah.
Right.
But now Fords are.
Yeah, the Ford parts are more prevalent.
Oh
now.
yeah, it's everything.
Okay.
I remember people would come in and look for like a Ford exhaust gasket. I'd look at them like, what are you, high?
Yeah, that's the 87 to 93 progression of the Mustang
Yeah,
too.
yep.
That body style in that era.
Yep.
You know,
Fox body.
what was
right?
his name? Dwayne Big Daddy. You know, he had his time, and then they switched the tires. So when they switched the tires, it took the BF Goodrich situation away from him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to dominate. And the tires got better, and the cars got quicker. And now here we are with a 275 going. What'd you say? Ron Rose goes 103 60 footer
103.
with a 275 60 15.
Wow. That is
So-
insane.
How sad is the Outlaw drag radio guys?
Yeah.
390s.
Yeah.
Eighth.
Wow. That's with a 315. Though,
Yeah.
right.
350. They're going 390. I think the record's 398.
Jesus.
You're talking a 3,300 pound car. I mean, they got the basically Hemi twin turbo.
Well, how much horsepower is in that car?
They make 4,000. They just
Wow.
there's no rules kind of in that class. It's a weight, and you can run twin 102s.
Really?
Yeah, so they don't.
Yeah, you're just not allowed to run nitrous and turbos. You can run nitrous or turbo.
We did. I mean, no. Well, now this year I think they got rid of it for Outlaw Drag Radio,
Okay.
ODR, whatever.
Oh, you
Radio
can't-
versus
you
the world.
can't-
They call
You can't
it.
have two power adders?
No, we ran it in Pro Extreme in the Pro mod that I run. We ran it in that, not for going down a track, but for spooling.
Yeah, just to light the
You know what I mean? It was instant. But then they were like, we switched classes anyway, but they kind of got rid of it this year because like we can't police it if you're using it down a track.
Right.
I'm like, listen, if I can figure it out, I'm going to use it down a track.
Yeah, no, and
If I got it, I'm going to use it.
and you're running alcohol as well,
Yeah.
so spooling is more of a challenge.
No, it's easier. It makes more
It is?
torque.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I just would have pictured the EGTs would make it harder.
because they're colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, no,
No,
the motor makes more torque with alcohol. So
And I
Yeah.
get to learn all
Yeah.
of this right now.
I wouldn't even know where to begin with half
Anthony
this stuff.
DiSomma is in our session.
No, I did the first time I worked with turbos, it was just with a guy that I worked with in a machine shop, and he did rallycross. And I developed a lot of bad habits there because they would actually put a fuel injector in the exhaust just to get the fucker to spool.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know where we probably first started to see how much turbochargers could do was Danny from Action Machines
Oh,
when he
yeah.
was dynoing those little 600 bike motors or whatever at the shop. We had made a whole cradle and a drive shaft.
I have it.
Right.
You have it?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah,
You actually have that?
yeah, because we John from M2 borrowed it
Right.
to dyno a snowmobile or something,
Right.
Micro Sprint or something,
Right.
and then I got it all back, and then Danny passed away, so
Yeah.
I have all the stuff somewhere. The drive shaft, I remember.
Yep. And what we did is the motor would sit on the dyno, so the output shaft where the crank sprocket, the sprocket would be to drive the back wheel, was replaced with a bolt-on yoke.
Okay.
And it would just drive the dyno would be held down, and
I think it was a front drive shaft for like an '87 Chevy pickup.
yeah, it was something like that.
That's where my drive shaft went.
Maybe.
You son of a bitch.
Okay. Car guys doing car guy things.
Yep. So I mean, we had it figured out, but Danny had turbocharged drag race motorcycles
On alcohol.
on alcohol. I think kind of before really anybody was doing it.
What was that in the 90s?
Yeah,
Early 90s.
early '90s.
Maybe
Yeah.
late 80s.
Well, when did I go away racing with those guys? Because I was doing that. That had to be
That was early 90s, late 80s.
yeah. Because I didn't have my license then.
Well, that's a long stretch of time.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that could have been like a 15-year period.
That could be a whole nother
Yeah,
discussion.
long
And,
story for another podcast.
For the record, my license, I don't have any points. My license has been clean.
Dude, imagine that. How many did
That's
you have
a
when we were
street
younger?
racer. Well,
Did
when
you
I
have
was
them when you were younger?
Yeah, I did, but I got them suspended a couple times.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
I didn't know you get automatic suspension for doubling the speed limit on the highway. So I got hit with a 150-mile-an-hour ticket, something like that.
Yeah.
I'll just use this as a teaser for a why Mike is fucked up podcast. my highest point total, I'm sure it was 72, but the highest documented proof that I have is 69. I actually just found the letter.
And 12 was the limit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12, you lost your license, right?
Yeah.
So how'd you get that high? Because they take 3 points off every year when you don't get a ticket.
Yeah, no.
But if you get 15 every year, they don't take any off.
Yeah, he just was it this last March or May or whatever?
That's right, because I called you and said it's a momentous day.
Why, under 0?
I'm
No.
under 12.
Under
You
12.
still have 12 points?
Dude, up until the other day, I had 15. And I lost 3. And I remember
So how long has that been then? Let's say 70 to
About 100 years.
3 points a year.
Yeah.
3
10
points a
years,
year if
30
you don't
points,
get a ticket.
6
So
years. No, you gotta have 0.
No.
I'm down.
And there
I've
was
been, I've been down to 0 for I'm a truck driver now. So
Yeah,
Right.
see,
I've been
after-
down to 0 for 10 years.
There was only 1 year that I didn't have a point reduction. 1. And it was because a douchebag cop in Denellen gave me a ticket. And then, because I'm such
What a
a
douchebag.
oh yeah, he was it was
Oh,
a
you mean the guy just doing his job?
You
No,
weren't
was
doing
it-
anything
Doing
wrong,
his
right?
job.
bullshit ticket.
Oh, okay. Fair
Bullshit
enough.
ticket. I won't even get into all that. But then when we went to court, pride got the best of me. And they have this extortion thing now that you could just pay a little more and we won't give you points. I mean, if they flat out tell you that they're going to rob you.
Right.
And
you don't want the what's that insurance surcharge?
right.
So you pay the money.
So the guy
no
said
points.
to me, he's like, you're gonna get points on your license. You're gonna have insurance search. I'm like, fuck you. You don't even have any idea who you're talking to. I've been down that road 100 fucking times. I was like, I'm not paying you any more money. I didn't do it. I'm gonna fight it. So I fought it and I lost because the judge wasn't even looking. He's like writing shit down like, Yeah, they don't listen. But that was the only time I didn't lose any. That was the only year. But all the time that you're suspended, you don't lose points. And you got yeah.
That's the key to
So
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I did find out that by the sheriff coming to the old shop asking my father to attach my wages because I wasn't paying the surcharges either. That will turn into a black mark on your credit report, bankruptcy, lien. It's
Well, we're
fucked up.
older now, more responsible.
We can have a conversation about that someday.
Now I have a point. We were talking about Buddy Ingersoll running bottom sevens in the 80s with a single turbo, and he was a pioneer of sorts. So here we have you, Anthony DiSomma, in our little podcast here. You're like a pioneer right now because it's Proline. They great work. Proline doesn't, but that's your competition. You guys are above the rest in your genre. So now let me ask you, what can you do to just top the Buddy Ingersoll of the 80s in 2015?
There's a lot of fast cars now.
Yeah.
You just got to be on top of your game, I guess. You know what I mean? You got to just try to be the best, go as fast as you can. I don't know if you can make any more, what's the word would be, like
Innovation.
any more statements or innovations. You know?
Right.
I mean, there always is.
Right.
But is there one thing you could do? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
But you already have to have you have to have that now for you to be where you are.
yeah, I mean,
But you just probably don't realize it until 10 years later somebody's telling you about, remember Anthony DiSomma used to run 219 and
yeah, I guess you don't
Well,
realize it. Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, a lot of where Anthony's at is that progression we've been talking about.
right.
I mean, basically, you look what a top alcohol dragster motor was, and now drag it out to where Anthony is now. It's a reasonably logical progression.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
For us to get our hair blown back by anything like Buddy was doing, somebody's got to do something completely off the wall,
Right.
Yeah.
and I'm sure they will.
Right. Well,
We just
Turbo-
can't think of it right
Well,
now.
it's crazy. I mean, think of, we got full bodied cars going into 5s. Like,
Mhm.
540s. Not like 599.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going 540s. You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's top alcohol funny car shit.
Yep.
You know?
Now, what kind of car is that goes that fast?
The Camaro,
And what
69.
kind of mile per hour would that go in a quarter?
273.
I just want to check that
All
for
right,
Tom. just wanted to
Just in
reaffirm
case you're
that.
listening, Tom.
we were supposed to go to that race and say who that owns the car.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "Hell no."
Yeah.
I don't run a quarter mile. They were watching videos like, dude, that's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, like people would look at it and be like, "Oh, you're a pussy." No, you're not a pussy. You realize how wrong this could go at any point in
Oh, yeah.
time. I mean, and you've got like all of us here, except me. Everybody in his room's got kids, but me. You got responsibilities.
Yeah.
You got kids. You got a family. I mean, you can't certain things you just can't do anymore.
but the car guy in you
Yeah, yeah.
will
After,
make you want to
it's
do
bad,
that
right?
barrier and go past that boundary and
I'm-
break that record. And
I'm sure it's impressive enough in the end.
Oh, it is. It doesn't.
It's got to scare the shit out of you from time to time.
When they switched to 8th mile racing, I remember I was a quarter-mile guy. I'm like, we're above the Mason-Dixon line. We ain't doing it. You know what I mean? I was all against it. Now I'm like, I ain't running quarter. You know, it is competitive. You got to be better on your lights.
Yeah.
You got to be on your game.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
the
what I mean?
light is very important.
The turbo cars back then, the reason why they did it because of the turbo cars. Because they're going to outmile, they're going to back half anybody.
Yeah.
Because they just make so much more power, than any other combinations. So to the 8th kind of leveled the playing field tremendously.
Right.
Yeah, I guess the 8th took a lot of the turbo cars' advantage away.
Without adding weight, because what happens is, okay, well, you make more power, so we got to add 300 pounds to you. Well, that makes it unsafe now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
You're going 250 miles an hour with a car that weighs 3,200 pounds.
Yeah, it's a missile.
Yeah. It's,
Plus, in the 8th mile, it gives the nitrous guy a chance against a turbo car.
yeah, but now,
Well, it used
now
to.
the turbo cars got to be on their game. 'Cause we got to, before we could go crappy 60 foot and and they're like, oh, okay, bye. Now we got to get our cars to work down in front.
Yeah.
The front half of the track. So
Get out of
actually,
there.
Yeah, you don't get to dial in another 10 pounds at the end because you don't have the end.
So technology improved with the turbo cars too over time.
Oh, yeah.
Of the launch, the 60-foot, the staging, and everything. Because I remember how we used to just sit there at the track and wait for the turbo
remember
guys
that?
to stage. Now they go right in, bump in,
Yeah.
boom, boom,
yeah.
and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
I remember we were talking about this the other day, actually. Okay, my 10.5 car, twin turbo, small block, right? 3,000 pounds. Dude, we would have done anything to go into sixes.
Yeah.
I think I ended up going 691. But there was everybody was fighting to go into sixes. Remember on a 10.5 tire? Just The car now, not the Pro Mod, the 10.5 car.
Right.
Guy Willie owns it from New York. His car, I drive it. We'll make it past 8th mile. I'll lift, pull the chutes, and go 656, 660. And I'm like, you kidding me, dude? I remember trying, I'd kill somebody to go in the 690 area back in the day.
I remember Dave Hance was selling his Mustang the day he made his last shot, and he went 690 something, but he wrecked the car and messed the sail up.
Yeah.
And everybody was impressed, like, oh man, clapping hands, 690 with that drag radio.
Now, who do you think, we talked about this a little bit, who do you think was the pioneer of the electronic injected turbo stuff? Where did that come from? Who was the first guy that people really heard about that were a turbocharged Mustang?
Mustang or just turbocharged?
It was a Mustang, I believe, the guy that I have in mind.
Well, Racing Jason?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think
Jason
Duttweiler.
Duttweiler,
I mean, they made classes for every car.
I forgot about Duttweiler.
Yeah,
We were
Duttweiler.
talking amongst ourselves. I forgot about
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was going to say,
Grand National.
Duttweiler. And I think John Meany was the injection guy.
Yeah.
He still is.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, you still talk to him, right?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I'll call him right now. I'll talk to him.
I'll tell you what, he'd be a great guy if he'd want to come in and do this. Because
he's good.
I know he can be a little rough.
Oh, he's funny.
He's a good guy. He's funny and he can be aggressive.
Yeah, but
I was just telling some stories about being a DFI like the first time when he had to school and like some of the shenanigans and things that went on. But it was that he'd be a good guy to have call.
I wonder if he did any street racing back in the day.
Oh, I'd be willing to bet on it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that attitude. Yeah, he went to shut somebody up on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but John started with the DFI. You know what? I was in my basement looking for something, and I found all these old discs.
Yeah.
Cow map.
Yep.
Like 3.1 or 3.0. I'm like,
Yep.
you gotta be kidding. I was like, I gotta mail this to John.
Five and a quarter floppy.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But-
It was all stuff like that. Now, when you're talking about all these cars that are using turbo stuff, obviously we've already said that there's no way that anybody back in Duttweiler's time or turbo people or Racing Jason stuff, they could never have thought this was going to go this direction.
No.
I mean,
Well, the electronics running the motor it's the same progression of electronics in the manufacturer. The turbos have gotten that astoundingly good.
yeah.
Being able to do
Spool and all that.
and the fact that they're so much lighter and they're they used to be Inconel. They used to be like 12 pounds. The manufacturing technology and the electronics and the design of them is the exact same progression as it is in the electronics of the motor.
So since you being the guy in the engineering chair, the turbocharging mechanically got better.
Oh.
Not so much from the electronics, but the mechanical aspect got much better.
Head and shoulders.
They're way more
And-
efficient.
Really?
Like
No,
everything's better.
like when you look on the compressor map, and there used to be this little spot in the middle where it was maybe 70% efficient. Now it's this big
Yeah.
thing
Well,
where
they're
it's
all billet-
85.
They're all billet wheels and
Yeah.
everything's, before they would take a truck turbo and kind of modify it
Right, because
and make it work.
now that you say that, when I got into driving the truck, I used to work for General Motors for 14 years. So I left them in 2008. I took over the family business. Now we have trucking in our system is what we do. So I'm looking at these trucks that go 800,000 miles with a turbo. And that's very efficient. They go many miles. So I was saying to myself, sooner or later, everything's going to be turbocharged, whether it be performance or regular cars, and they'll be efficient and they'll be daily drivers.
You know, it does it for the EPA stuff. It makes the exhaust hotter.
Yeah.
So the emissions are better.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
And
it does a
everything.
lot, you know?
Cadillacs, we talking about the Cadillacs and the cars and trucks come right out the factory with 700 horsepower.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, well, this is a little bit of a side route, but it seems like GM, Ford, and now Chrysler, they just forgot about turbochargers and they went to the supercharger shelf.
No, Ford got the Ecotech.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah,
you're thinking of the performance.
I'm thinking
but
of the
all of them
performance
have,
lines.
because they all got a 1.3, 1.4 liter turbocharged,
Well, they're
40 mile per gallon.
No, but they're Ford's race car.
Right.
What the hell's it called? The factory, like the Copo and
Right.
Oh, yeah, the
factory
Super
race car
Cobra.
is twin turbo.
Right. But
Super Cobra Jet, whatever.
Oh, yeah?
The super. What the hell's it called?
Oh,
are you
yeah.
thinking of the GT?
No, it's a race car.
Is it
Yeah,
a race car?
You could buy it for a drag race car.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, like the Copo Camaro and the Chrysler has one too.
Well, look, the one thing that I can tell you is that Ford, not quite the mysterious company that like maybe GM would be, because I remember Nitrous Pete was involved in making a Nitrous Pete edition Mustang, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, you
How is that guy doing nowadays? I haven't heard of him.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be the one down the street from Englishtown, right?
No,
that
that's
was
Jimmy LaRocca.
But wasn't Nitrous
LaRocca.
Pete there? Wasn't he with him for a little bit?
Jimmy? Yeah, I think Jimmy might have worked with Pete.
Yeah.
But Jimmy LaRocca goes to the gym I go to, New York Sports Club. He goes, and I mean, I remember the one time he says to me, like, Mike, what the fuck are you doing here? Because, he's very New Yorkish. You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of good times with a lot of those guys. But what I'm saying is the cars like the Cadillac that we talked about, the Z06 Corvette now, the ZR1 Corvette, its predecessor, the Hellcat, 700 horsepower at factory. They're all mechanically supercharged. I have to agree, and I think everybody in this room would agree that turbocharging is probably a better route. Why are they all going to superchargers? I mean, can you, Anthony, do you race against guys that are supercharged in your class?
Oh, yeah.
Do you beat them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. They have the record in the class is held by a supercharged car.
Okay.
It's an 81 with a 9.
Right.
I went 82 with a 3.
Okay.
He went 195. I went 208.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just they got the front half figured out better.
Right.
But just so you know, a lot of the blower cars are fuel injection. I mean, they're going fuel injection now.
Right.
Instead of mechanical, they're going electronic.
All right.
It's a new thing starting this year.
And you think that'll help them a lot?
Yeah, I think it'd be cleaner because them things, the mechanical injection is just dirty.
We
You
just,
know what I mean?
Right. That's the layman terms of it all. He just said,
Yeah.
They're
It's
big
not as
fucking
clean,
mess,
not
dirty,
as efficient.
whichever one you want to choose.
well,
But the turbocharged stuff too is I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier on the motor.
Yeah.
Like you'll see them guys ripping their motor apart, changing bearings every night, this and that, and they'll be like, what are you guys doing? I really got to eat. They got to change rods every 20 passes. We change them every, 60.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Take the motor apart for 5 races.
Yeah. No, and they probably got to change the oil every run or every other
Oh,
run.
yeah. We do it every
it's a
race.
Big mess.
But
Is that a function of how controlled of an environment you have?
I think the turbo's just easier. It's smoother. You know what I mean? Like nitrous or blowers are aggressive. They're like bang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And way more harmonics with a blower.
And down south, the kick to the excitement of the nitrous cars is the bang after the burnout. And they sit there, boom, 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 banging those motors so the crowd can go crazy. Turbo guys just
No,
come
and going back to the engineering / engine builder part of it, turbo cars have a much broader but lower peak cylinder pressure. Where a supercharged or a nitrous car, the cylinder pressure will spike. That induces an instantaneous blow-by, fucks up the oil, shocks the rod, shocks the crank, shocks the block. Everything gets beat up.
I imagine you're probably more prone to less catastrophic detonation, like the random, motor ramping through its various stage. Maybe 3 or 4 power pulses could have a very bad marble, and the turbochargers are probably more controllable in that aspect.
It's the turbochargers are part of it, and then it's the granularity, like we were talking about before, on the electronics.
Yeah,
the electronics on the supercharged car will probably do a lot to improve the setup.
Do you want me to put you on hold, Anthony?
This is our first guest.
Yeah, first
that
guest.
had to answer his phone.
This tells you where we rank, don't it?
Maybe he's looking. Maybe he's listening to the message that came or something.
This guy, he just put
He is
us
funny.
on hold to answer his phone.
We're in the middle
got
of a podcast.
He's got a wife and kids. Cut him some slack.
Do you realize?
That's probably
Really?
That's probably
Really?
another car guy. I'm willing to bet it's a car guy.
I don't know, but see
My
now.
mom, man.
Oh, mom. Hey,
She's
mom.
watching my daughter to make sure she's okay.
Mom is important.
Yeah.
Mom is important.
No, I just think it's funny. We got to break your balls. But you did in the beginning have engine failures with the turbo thing. I remember being at your place looking at the first Hemi pistons at your garage, and you were trying to figure
No
out.
Hemis, no.
I'm pretty sure it was
My
a Hemi.
garage.
It was your house. Remember, I was there and you
my
were
Ford
showing me
Hemi.
pistons.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I'll tell you that deal. We went, when I decided to go with the big block,
Right.
small block, twin turbo, it was alcohol with a Hemi, Ford Hemi. Well, the issue was, back then they didn't have O2 sensors that read alcohol.
Right.
We didn't have injectors big enough. That they didn't have the big atomizer injector now that flows, that didn't make them 700 pounds an hour. We didn't have nothing. So I had 3 160s per cylinder. So we were nobody ran alcohol. We were
Right.
the first ones really to do it in 10.5 and turbo stuff. And we went out there and, it's kind of burn to learn program. Well, that didn't work.
Well, you were probably still buying less pistons than the nitrous guys.
Yeah.
Not by a lot, but by a little.
No. But yeah, no, so we were, it was kind of a burn to learn program. And then now, of course, now they have alkyl O2s and,
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff to help you because you can't, ignition systems are better. Now they have big injectors,
Yeah, I mean, all the injector side, things got so much better from start to finish compared to where we were. Like I was telling before you got here, we were talking about Kenny Anka's thing. That was the electronic injected circle track thing. The thing ran great for a little while, and then the drivers would heat up, it would shut off, it would do all kinds of dumb stuff. It was really kind of crazy how things work. See, now he's getting a picture for you to sign. That's what that is. But
I'm
I mean,
testing my camera out on my phone,
Gonna do a selfie with
my
Anthony.
Android.
Yeah, Android, right? Android. Not the other
you'll
Oh, you
catch
followers,
on to that.
The ones that work? Yeah.
I was just see Mike yelling at me last night. I'm like, Mike, send me a picture. Okay, call me back after you get it. I'm like, send it to me now. You can't look at it while you're on the phone with me. I was like, you got an Android. I'm like, bet, send it.
Well, it has to do with your service more than a telephone.
I was about to say because
I was right. Like Tom,
You were right.
Tom was wrong.
I'll give it to you. Let me ask you a question. This is an important one. Which way do we have to move a camshaft to gain exhaust clearance? That's what I got to ask you.
That's nice.
I guess that's an inside joke.
A very
Yeah,
inside
inside
joke.
joke.
I used to get that phone call. I don't know why everybody has things. Like I have mental blocks, things I can't remember. I used to get that phone call from Anthony, at least once, maybe a month, maybe twice a month. But yeah,
We were changing that. We were doing something. I forgot what I was doing. It was the gas station days. And I was like, instead of I could have just done it and checked it again. But I was just being stupid.
Or you could have just wrote it down on the wall.
Yeah, right. And I was like, Mike, what are you going to move it to gain exhaust clearance? Are you an idiot? I was like, just give me the answer, please.
that became a running joke for a long time. He'd call up. Let me ask you a question. I said, "Is it about camshaft and clearance?" No.
Well, yeah, but no.
Yeah.
So all this stuff now. So what's next? You're gonna stick with the pro mod side, and it's not really it's not your car. You're basically a hired driver now.
Yeah.
Well, you do the motors and
Yeah.
you drive.
I take care of the car. It stays with me. Actually, the customer, the guy's actually from Kuwait, Saud Al-Zabin, and he became a good friend of mine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't supposed to drive the car. He was gonna. But the first time we went out with it, he's like, hey, you want to drive it? And then just so, it's easier to tune when you're not driving. 'Cause
Right.
He tunes the car. So I was like, okay. So we went out there and we did it. And then he's like, you want to stay in it? No, I just like tuning it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, fine. But I also drive the 10.5 car too. I'm going to do both this year again.
Okay.
But
He's a car guy. He decided his niche was he didn't want to drive. So
Yeah.
you must drive.
And I can completely relate to that
Yeah.
because I didn't really have any desire to drive anything.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. One thing I do got to tell you. We went to Florida. And this is probably the most I've raced in my life. He rented the track for a week. We went there. Mike, I think we made 45 passes in 9 days.
Wow.
I don't think I haven't barely raced that much whole year,
Wow.
before. But we did it like in a week, 9 days, So I remember going there. We were in Orlando. I do the burnout. Okay, Okay, I'm good, go out there, launch the car, let go of the transmit button. The car left, got out and shook, and like pro mods shake like nothing. Like feels like you're on an earthquake.
Right.
They ain't like a little brrr, you know what I mean? So I let off the gas, I'm just driving down the track, and I'm thinking in my head, am I out of my mind, dude? Like, I let go of the button, the thing left so hard. It went 970, 60 foot, first time ever. And I'm thinking to myself, am I out of my mind, dude? I'm not gonna be able to drive this car. I'm thinking, because I'm used to go like their 10.5 car goes, 110 or whatever, It was, we've been 950 now.
Yeah.
But like anything else, everything slows down. You know what I mean? The only thing is now you get in the 10.5 car, it don't feel as aggressive.
Right.
Like, before the 10.5 car,
it becomes easier to drive too, right?
Yeah.
Mentally.
Yeah. Like everything slows down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything just doesn't feel as fast anymore. But I remember the first pass in that car, I'm like, holy shit, dude, I can't drive this car.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You had gone from a fast car.
412.
And
like
what was
198.
Okay, and how much faster was this one?
Right away?
Yeah.
Or we've been?
No, right away.
Right away, 390.
All right, so wait a second.
4.0.
Oh, hold up
Wow,
here.
so the 2/10 was a difference. That's
Yeah.
what he's saying.
I gotta
You're talking,
Seat of the pants.
but you're talking 110 60 foot to 970,
right.
and you're talking like 195 average, let's say, to 205
Yep.
or 206. You know what I mean?
So seat of the pants was a very big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Now, the reason I asked that specific question is I remember Tommy Martino, and Anthony and I both know
Yeah.
Tommy very well.
Mm-hmm.
When he moved into Pro Stock, what was he in? B Altered? I think it was B. It was
think it was B, yeah.
Comp Eliminator B. And he moved into Pro Stock and started doing his first test passes. And I remember, him calling, and, we were all closely involved at that point, with what everything was going on with the Pro Stock car. And I said, got to ask you, what did it feel like? And I was like, because it's not that much faster. Because at that point, it wasn't. I want to say Pro Stock cars are maybe going 186.
I think there's one. I think Tommy came out of D, not B.
Well, no, they had
Or maybe he went D, B,
they had
and
a
then Pro.
C.
Okay, because I could have swore he was in D, but that's a long time ago now.
Yeah, but look, I know they had a 390-inch motor. That probably would have been in B.
Yeah,
That was
that'd be B.
Alan, the engineer.
Alan, the engineer. Yeah.
No, I have a little bit of familiarity with comp.
Yeah, no,
but
that
comp
was-
is easy to screw up.
They had two motors. They were canted valve small blocks. They were like 392s and 396s.
Oh,
They-
yeah,
that's
so
what-
that's definitely B.
yeah, so it was
Without a
B.
doubt.
But it was
Because
a,
we have to make ours smaller to get the B.
okay. So it was a very close in the scheme of things. A mile an hour. It was just a little bit. And I remember him calling up, and I got him on the phone. And I said, "Hey," I said, "how was it?" And I said, "Did it feel different?" I said, "You're going like that extra 3 or 4 miles an hour." He's like, "Entire different world."
Wow.
And I was a guy going from a very fast comp car just to taking the next little step like Anthony did to a Pro Stock car. Said exactly the same thing. So I guess it is so much what your brain gets used to like your end. Like, do you know if you're on a killer pass? Like, can you recount the pass in your head?
Yeah, you know what it does? I'll tell you what. Your slowest pass is your fastest pass. Whatever feels the slowest is usually the
Yeah,
fastest.
because something went wrong.
no, I'm saying the slowest pass, whatever feels the slowest is usually your fastest. Because
Less-
everything's smooth, calm, and it goes.
Least eventful.
Yeah,
I used to
exactly.
say that about the 60 foot when we had we were racing the no time grudge car called the Legend Killer small block, Sonny Lennon small block. And every time we would look at a pass and go, it looked okay. Then you get the ticket. You're like, oh wow, we gonna race now. Let's go race. Back it up. Let's go. No one testing. Let's go.
Well, I mean, one thing when I work with the comp car and the Pro Stock car, when Jeff, we do all the data and stuff like that, but we sit and talk about it each run,
Yeah.
and that takes 7-8 minutes. So when you drop a half second, then it's translated tenfold to the amount of time and the amount of memory you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that tenfold difference.
Like everybody used to ask me, like, so how's it feel? Like when I first started like running good with the car, and I was like, the only way I can explain it to you is it eats up real estate fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't really, it feels
No,
fast.
but-
You can't say that. Like, you just think like you're on a starting line and you look at where you got to be, you let go of the button, and you're there.
You're there.
And I think at 3.7 seconds, and we went 370 is the fastest we've been, 372.
Well,
But-
2-speed or 3-speed?
Two.
That's
2-speed. You can
Hourglass.
first gear might be.
No, it's a turbo glide,
Turbo glide.
400 deal.
I was going to say first gear might be too short for you to tell me,
Yeah.
but it would probably take you at least 2 minutes to tell me what happened in high gear.
Yeah,
There is a time dilation to it.
but it is crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
even everything's just going so fast. I mean, everything. If you look at the progression over the last couple of years in heads up racing. You know what I mean? Even grudge racing. I mean, back in the day, we used to grudge race and we'd do this, talk all sorts of crap, and we got 11-second cars.
Right.
Now they got grudge cars going, 6s, 7s. I mean, regular cars, not no crazy, regular looking like stock suspension cars are going, 8 low 8 7s, whatever they could go.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just crazy,
Well, we talked about in the first episode, we were trying to figure out how much power a killer guy down there could have really had. What did he?
Yeah.
In the 90s, early 90s?
Yep. We were thinking like,
We used to, if you remember, me and my boys from Street Quick Boys, we were riding around with a convertible Mustang with a 351.
was it black?
Yeah, with a convertible top.
Yep.
Pumping the music.
Yep.
We were going 1080.
Right.
And we were the shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was 1994,
Yep.
And I built, that was my first time putting a Ford motor together. And I think, we were riding around 3360 with me in it, tailpipes and street tires.
Yeah.
The same M&Hs that we said, well, White Boy George had these M&Hs when he had the brown car. Anthony had the M&Hs on his quote unquote wife's car, his girlfriend's car.
Hey, it was the same rims from the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, same rims.
Yeah, I used to
okay.
switch the whole tires and rims over and put them in each car, whatever car we wanted to take to the hole that night.
Yeah, so those M&Hs were good. Now the M&Hs is non-existent.
No, I have them.
You do?
No, I don't have them.
No, I'm saying they don't make them.
Yeah, I saw them in looking at something. I just saw them.
M&Hs?
I was looking at something. I'm like, M&H Race Master. I'm gonna get set.
Wow, I didn't know that because I know the Hoosier Quick Time is what I use now.
Yeah.
And I go a pretty decent 60-footer with a street tire with that.
Yeah, but they have the. I saw them not too long ago, and I think it was in a Summit.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, but I mean, that's where we came from.
Yeah.
That a fast, grudge / street car,
Yeah.
1080.
The Monte Carlo we used to go 950s.
Yep.
With
You know what I mean?
nitrous oxide?
Yeah, with nitrous.
That was a 406, right?
Yeah, 406, and that was 3,600 pounds or anything.
I remember you used to come to the hole. It was nose heavy and hanging down like that. I remember that.
Didn't you melt that thing like 5 million times?
That's only because I tried to put. I was cheap. I wanted to put 2 stages on. I put a plate on top of a plate.
Well, there was something I remember you melting quite often.
No, that was my Ford.
That was your Ford.
Man, until I
Okay.
figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to be in Brandon's shop, the former owner of Speed Tech. If you know who Brandon Switzer is,
Yeah.
he's a Switzer
Switzer
Dynamics now.
Yeah.
I used
He
to be with him.
sponsors the Pro Nitrous and PDRA now.
Yeah. He's cool. I got him in the phone. He's cool. I used to stand next to him, and he used to say, "Crunch, if you're not blowing stuff up in this game, you're not learning."
No,
and I
exactly.
just stood there listening to him. And then when he gave us our nitrous for our small block, we were shooting as much as we were making in motor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we were the guys. We were making a lot of money with that car.
Well, my Ford motor, we were only allowed 1 stage, single carburetor, cast manifold. We were spraying a 46 jet. That's probably equivalent to 600-700 horsepower. The motor made 850. But that we had to do it. I remember going the first race I won with that car. That was Pro 50 we ran 2 races and they changed the rules. They said tube chassis cars are allowed, and then I ran NSCA with that car. And I remember going to a race. I was in Canada, first race I ever won, and I won the race. And I remember talking to Pat Musey, nitrous guy. He's like, "Hey, how'd you do?" Because we were all collecting checks. And I was like, "I won." He's like, "Good." He goes, "What'd you do?" I said, "I went, I forgot how fast I went, a 770 or something." And he's like, I was like, "I put a 46 jet in it." He goes, "You won. You go home, you fix it." I was like, "There's nothing wrong with it." He's like, "Really?"
Oh, he thought you blew it up?
Yeah, because, they run big blocks with multi-stages. They didn't really run one big stage. Nobody knew about that.
All right.
Yeah.
But it was a learning curve, believe me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I forgot about that.
That was the car.
When you moved in to this type of racing, it was a nitrous car.
Mhm.
The turbo was the redo of it.
Yeah.
When you moved.
Well, then I went nitrous fuel injection,
Yep.
and then I went turbo, But
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You were in the nitrous class, in the
For a long
nitrous
time.
side of things for a long time.
I did real good. Yeah, I won a lot of races, actually, with that deal. But that was a weight per cubic inch class.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was good. But that's what we did, started all that, and then I wanted to go turbo because I just want to go faster.
Right.
So just quit while I was behind.
Yeah.
Quit while you're behind.
No, man, I think that anybody listening, especially real car guys, have to look at Anthony as a massive success story about following
definitely.
what you love.
Definitely. Now, we mentioned Proline, which is his competition, a great company, and DiSomma's name is in that level.
Yep.
So it's on that level, in that level, and you are a pioneer of this time, and that's respectable, especially when I know you personally.
Yeah, well, thanks.
You know?
From where we came from, right? We're just
Right.
But all of us, think about it. All the stuff we used to hang out. We're a bunch of hoodlums back then. You think any of us, right? Hang out in the corner, so start trouble. Always talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys, everybody probably had it. We used to hang out in the car lots like in Somerville. The cops would chase us out. We'd have our next spot. Yeah. We moved to the next spot.
Even when we weren't racing, at the hole, we would hang out during the week.
Yeah.
That would still be the spot to stand around. And I've never gone anywhere and done anything for that amount of time and enjoy it.
Yeah.
We stand around for 6 and 7 hours because you're around car guys. You could be talking about stuff. You never know. Like right now, I'm looking for the next. I see all these Fender exit exhausts, right? That's supposed to be the new style, but it drives me crazy to see this because I don't like it. But so many people have popularized it. That's what they do. They want it. They want the exhaust, the headers to go right to the fender, and it's disgusting for me.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, isn't it? Because when I saw cars, not to interrupt, but when I saw cars like that, I immediately thought, oh, the exhaust is coming out there. It must be a turbo car. Must be the easy place to dump it out. But now it's a lot of stuff.
A lot of guys are doing that. So I'm thinking to myself, well, there has to be something different coming.
Yeah, running up the hood.
Yeah, do something.
There's guys that did that.
Yep.
The nitrous guys do it a lot too because they don't like to see the flames, see the candles lit.
Oh, okay. Hold a piston. It'd be great. Don't have wipe.
Oh, believe me, I've seen some parts fly out of them.
Oh, yeah.
You go down a track and the nitrous cars, flames come out of them.
Right.
As they're going down the racetrack. And
I saw that in the Fast and the Furious. Yeah. That's where I learned about
that.
No,
it's real fuel.
Nas.
But
the Nas guys.
I've seen guys, you'll see it, and all of a sudden you see it go, the flame will go, pop, pop, and then sparks and
and chunks.
But, yeah.
Now, I got to tell you, I got to ask you first. Like when we go, like if I go to a race that you're going to be racing at, are you like the guy now with like flags around your pit so people can't walk in? Yeah. So you're that special.
No. What are you talking about? We don't put them up all the time. If we go to like the PDRA races, sometimes a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're trying to work on a car.
And you'll have some idiot.
Right. Everybody wants to lean in the car with you. Like, hey, how's this car run? I'm like, really? I'm about to warm it up. Could you leave? But the good thing is in the Camaro, the 10.5 car race, we run M5. And it's basically, I don't even know, they say it has nitro in it, I don't know, but it stinks.
Now, M5 is a VP fuel.
Yes.
Right? It's actually made for motorcycle, right? Isn't that?
No, it's alcohol.
It's alcohol.
M1, you're talking about M105.
Yeah.
M105, yeah.
Okay.
M1 is regular.
You got to understand, I've been on this a long time. A long time.
Well, we're back in it now, baby. We're back in it.
But M5 is supposedly has, like, it's, Q16, the new fuel.
Right.
It's kind of like that to M1. It has, like, it's supposed to have part nitro in it or something, but it stinks. It stinks worse than M1.
So it keeps people away.
Well, it's great. Like, I warm up the car and I'm sitting there, everybody's like, look at the car. Like, when, like, you go to Englishtown on a Wednesday night, right? And whenever there's, like, a pro kind of car there, everybody, like, goes around it. They want to see it and be all like, wow. So you start the car and they're all like, yeah. And then all of a sudden you see them like, and it like disappears. It's like a bad fart. Oh, it's funny.
Now what is that fuel? Is it supposed to have maybe like a little bit of nitromethane but it's legal?
Yeah, it's legal. Yeah.
It's legal
like
for
M5,
use.
yeah. But they, it's supposed to have a little bit of nitro in it, but it's I think it's also oxygenated or something. I'm not even sure. I never really looked at
nitromethane is an oxygenate.
Yeah, so I really don't know the actual.
I know. It's just that like anytime we got a technology question or like we just have to turn around and look at you. It's a good place to be. I mean,
you're the engineer here.
I'm the guy that discovers why your mileage may vary.
So with this fuel, do they actually specifically test for this fuel? I mean, what I'm getting at
Your
here.
tune-up's different for it.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is could a guy use methanol and a chunk of nitro and get away with it, or do they actually do fuel tests?
They don't do fuel tests, but they might start this year. A lot of classes are getting more, before they were more lenient, because they kind of want anybody to run.
Right.
Now that everybody's starting getting fast and starting to get close and they want to be good racing, they start policing more and more.
Right.
Cool.
Because that's an area.
Nitro.
Yeah, that's an area that you could make a hell of a difference is with nitromethane. I mean, that's unbelievable. And I we'll talk about this real quick, and because this is kind of funny. When Anthony first started doing this stuff, everything that I was taught was finesse. It was perfect piston rings. It was perfect ring grooves. It was, hone was perfect. Valve job was perfect. If I called up Anthony right now and said, listen, I got a set of piston rings, going to pick you up 8, he'd still be laughing. Because realistically, the range that these things are in, what I'm trying to say is consequence of magnitude. If you had a piston ring that would pick you up a little bit, it ain't for a guy like Anthony. It's for a normally aspirated superstock guy or whatever. Well, since you can't get enough gain from that, like gain from nitromethane, I'm surprised that the fuel hasn't been really policed. Because that's a huge improvement.
Yeah. But most of the guys, they could tell by the guys. You know what I'm saying? You could tell if someone's running so much faster than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we ran it when we went the 200 mile an hour pass in the 10.5 car. We were the first ones to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And of course nobody believed it because it rained. We couldn't back it up. You know. And then the next race, we're like, you know what? Screw everybody. We're gonna put nitro in it. We're gonna go 207, 205, or 203. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But let me tell you something. It was a different animal. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I left, the car would leave, and you could run a lot more timing with nitro. You could do a lot more stuff. You leave, and the car would get on track, and it'd start hiking the front end up. You know, it's 8th mile now, so 660. It'd start hiking the front end up 550 feet. Like, the thing should be down by then.
Now, how much did you put in?
Wow.
10% by weight. You know, not by volume.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it was more, you know, but it was retarded.
I hope everybody paid attention to that.
It was
how
crazy.
much of a difference that makes.
Oh, it was insane. Yeah. It broke the ring gear. I mean, we never had a problem with ring gears in that car. It sheared the ring gear 3 passes.
Wow.
It sheared the pinion.
Yeah, with the it wasn't the NMCA, but the Hot Rod magazine ran it for a couple of years after that with the Hot Street. It was kind of like all motor. These guys were cheating by like 2.5%, and you could hear it and you could see it.
Yeah, but you know what's weird? Maybe you would know. You can't put nitro in gasoline, can you?
You can.
You can.
Oh, you can? I never knew
Yeah,
that.
but itty bitty.
Oh, okay.
Itty bitty. And I know this from the hillbillies that I used to hang out with, the circle track stuff. You got to hold on. I just got to say this. Do you realize what a fucked up world I was from? Okay, I'm with a shop that was famous for finely refined super stock motors, everything professional, no fucking around, no cheating. You know, my father was straight as an arrow, like never doing shit like that.
They hid nitrous in the burn.
So, but listen.
Well, when he came to the hole, they had hidden nitrous, right?
So we never did anything off the ordinary.
Right.
To then I end up in the hood, street racing,
right,
with like everything illegal you could possibly have.
Anthony took you there.
Yep. And then ended up in circle track land on a dirt track with hillbillies.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been
hillbillies need love too.
Yeah. I have been every range of this. And I got to tell you, the hillbillies, for a long time, they thought they were smart. When they were using nitromethane, they used to put a bubbler in a gas tank. So you'd see the guy come up and he'd plug an air hose into the front of his car and like lay it there like it's just laying there. But you notice that it's connected to a line that runs to the back, and you walk past the car and hear bloop, 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 bloop. Because what they were doing is they're bubbling the fuel to keep it mixed so that the nitromethane stayed suspended.
Oh, wow.
And these guys, they, again, hillbillies, you know, how much nitro did you put in there? I don't know, a Snapple bottle. No mixing.
No measurement.
No.
Nice.
Oh, we did it. We had like a whole chemist thing. It's by weight.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, you
right.
can't do it by volume, you know?
Right.
But yeah, now can't you mix, and again, this is a question for Alan, isn't there something else that falls in the same family? It's nitropropane?
No.
Propylene oxide.
Propylene oxide.
No,
Yeah.
there's a nitropropane. Look that up. Not now.
I was going to say, I know I've heard of it, and it's not what propylene oxide was. It came to mind
Right.
next, but I'll look it up.
Well, aren't nitros considered paraffins? Nitroparaffins?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they're called?
That's what I think is in the M5.
Yeah.
Nitroparaffins. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that there's one nitropropane that mixes because we looked into buying it for somebody.
Because they don't cheat.
Yeah, no. This
This is a chemistry class. Right
yeah, this was for a circle track guy that wanted to make an improvement, and we had told him what we thought he should use, and we looked at it, and it was insanely expensive compared to nitromethane,
which is already insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, nitro is expensive. Yeah.
So you're just going to keep doing your thing with the Pro Mod? That's your deal?
That and a 10.5 car.
Yeah.
Both of them, yeah.
And how's business been? You
Good.
bought, of all things, he bought, this is so fucked up, Charlie Weston Machine, is in the old building that my dad's shop started in. Anthony ended up going to Hoffman Machine. I mean, all these people, like, they're like transferring properties.
Where Charlie started.
Yeah, where Charlie
in my
started.
building.
Oh, okay.
Charlie came there like, I used to
But
work
that's
in
a
this
beautiful
corner.
progression.
Yeah, it's amazing because Charlie worked for John, moved out, and then Anthony, I guess, picked it up. Now, redid the whole shop.
Yeah.
All nice stuff.
Everything,
got to start from scratch. That's got to be a nice feeling. I mean, dude,
Gutted everything.
you worked in that garage. It was a 2-bay gas station with a workbench in the back, like left corner. You walk through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so. It's got to be nice to have. Well, you worked for Coast Chassis or at Coast Chassis for a
their
while,
building.
right?
I went to M2
Right.
first. I left the gas station, went to work for MT Race Systems.
Yep.
Then he moved and closed up. So I didn't want to go work for anybody. So I'm
You
going to
used
go
to
back
work
on my
for
own.
Coast Chassis?
No, I rented Tim's building.
Oh, okay. Tim's
After
building
M2.
down in Jackson,
Jamesburg.
Jamesburg. Okay.
After Ron left M2, or left, he moved to Ithaca, and he closed up shop. I was like, I'm not moving to Ithaca. You know what I mean? So I went to Tim's shop, rented his shop from him, and I was there for
You were there
2
for a
years.
while. Yeah, 2 years.
3 years.
Because Tim is down in Florida now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He did my Southside traction bars when I first got back in the day.
Now he did your orange car. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other car too.
Really?
Yeah, both cars. Yeah.
Oh, Tim built your orange car?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did
That's
it.
cool.
Yeah. That one and the other one too.
Now you mentioned where your owner's from. Do you have a lot of overseas work?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff in Kuwait, Bahrain,
Well, when I was talking to you about trying to schedule all this, you were getting something crated up
to ship to Kuwait. Yeah.
to ship to Kuwait. I mean, we never did anything like that. We had a super stock guy in Sweden. That was the farthest we ever shipped anything to.
And Mike, I'm not doing the podcast in Bahrain. I'm not going.
No,
Do you want to go there? It's nice.
I'm not going.
I
I heard it
Bahrain's
was
nice,
nice.
yeah.
Mike Hill told me it was
Yeah,
nice
it's
over
nice.
there. But I'm not going, Mike. I'm just scared. I'm scared to go out of the United States. I'm not going.
you got to get a passport.
Yeah, I have all that, but I'm not going. I'm staying here. This is home. I'm staying here.
I would love to see areas of the world like that.
I'll tell you what. When I went, everybody's like, "You're out of your mind." I wouldn't go there. This and that. And I mean, I've been to Italy. I've been to other places. So it didn't really. I was like, how bad can it be?
Mhm.
But I'll tell you what. When I went there, they're high into. I mean, hospitality. Like
Right.
they're major. I mean, there's areas that are crappy. You know what I'm saying? But there's where my friend is. He's beautiful on the
Right.
beach. You know what I mean? It's beautiful there.
Well,
you know what I mean?
they're royalty over there.
No,
so
he's
that's
not.
good, though.
He's
Oh,
not.
He's not.
No.
Oh, okay.
But it seems like everybody over there got a boatload of money, right? Until you get to a certain level. And
I
then
think
it
they're either rich or
falls off.
poor.
Yeah.
It's not.
There's no
Oh, no
middle.
middle
There's no
class.
average. Yeah, there's
Oh,
no.
okay.
I think I mean, like I work on a lot of guys' motors that I build a lot of motors people that don't. They're not rich.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's people that have money, and there's people that don't. But a lot of them over there, I'll tell you what, they're government sponsored. Like there's a lot of racers are government sponsored.
Oh, okay.
Like the government pays for their stuff. Like a
Wow.
sponsorship. Because you got to remember over there, what do they have? Soccer. Drag racing is big over there.
Right.
IndyCar. In Formula One, IndyCar.
Well,
They don't
only-
have football, baseball, soccer, basketball, hockey.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like we won those 2 races. Here when he went back, oh dude, it was like a big, like it was like winning the Super Bowl.
They had a parade for him.
You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, you got to admit, those guys over there, they're into cars.
Oh, yeah.
Because you look, do you ever,
They're car guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever search YouTube and look at some of these retards? Like they drive down the road and spin a car around like 40 fucking times.
Oh,
Like,
the what do you call it? The drifting. That's Saudi Arabia.
yeah.
But that's because Saudi Arabia, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Like there's, like you can't. Okay, put it this way: Kuwait, there's restaurants, there's things. You go to Qatar, well, Bahrain's like Vegas.
Right.
Everything goes.
Right.
But there's dry countries. There's no alcohol, nothing.
Right.
In Qatar, you could go to clubs and bars if you're not from Qatar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're American, you go there. But if you're from Qatar, you're not let in.
So wait
Clubs
a minute.
and
You could own a place like that, but you can only serve other than residents?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well, why is that? What is the
because it's a
business?
religion, they don't drink. There's no alcohol.
All right. I understand.
Kuwait, it's same way. But Saudi Arabia, there's nothing. Like I don't even think they're allowed to have like text messaging.
Really?
They just it's like nothing. So that's why they're nuts. You ever see like they do street skating?
Yeah.
Street skating.
Yeah.
They'll drive down the road. You got to YouTube this.
I saw it.
They open a door. They're going like 70. They'll open the door, get out of the car, and just hold on to the car and be skating on their sandals down the street. Like, you out of your mind?
Now, you see, now that was my ignorance because I would have thought,
that's more Saudi Arabia.
you're a little more worldly than I am, Alan, so you probably knew exactly, well, that's not really that region. I look at anything like that direction, that's kind of over there.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, they kind of lump it all together. But I know like places like Dubai, Bahrain, they're supposed to be incredible places to go. I'd love to go.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you, Kuwait is very American. Yeah. Kuwait is very Americanized. Yeah. Like you would think. I mean, everybody speaks English.
Now, did you go there to race or just to visit or what?
I didn't
was
drive. I went there. My buddy Saud.
Right.
He drove the 10.5 car he had.
Right.
So I just went there. He just flew me over to come hang out with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I used to go every year, I didn't go this year. But
why not?
It's too busy. I can't. But I'll tell you what, they're big into there. It's amazing. Right. Like the first time I went there, I was like, did I ever think I'd be here? You know what I mean? Like they're normal guys like us.
You came a long way, and they're
cars and starting a TK.
I'm just saying.
Have gotten you there is the real. I mean,
yeah. I'm saying
Mike can go if he wants.
They're car guys.
Yeah.
Like they're just like us. Just speak a different language.
Right.
They street race. I gotta call him and ask him about street racing, how it happens there, how they do it. But we were driving around. He's like, "Oh, I just did a street race," and it looked like Newark, burnout marks everywhere, tape line on the wall where it ends.
Right,
I'm like,
I can imagine.
Really, dude? You know,
because everywhere I go in the United States, every state that I've been through has the same element.
Has a spot
somewhere where they're doing exactly what we do in Newark, New Jersey.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I've seen it. And like I said, the languages might be different. Yeah. The terminology for the break and all that might be different. But they're getting it in the same way we used to do.
I mean, they're big into all the late model stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Mike, I forgot to send you the clip of the guys going through the stoplights. In California. Oh,
I want to see that. That's nuts.
Sick. 4-lane highway. I couldn't believe it.
See, at least we're a little safe.
Yeah, we
blocked the road.
Right.
We didn't let's race. There's traffic coming. Don't worry about them. They'll move. We stopped the traffic.
I thought
we were kind of safe what we did.
2-lane highway.
You know what I mean?
And there was actually...
Besides the people parking on the side.
There was actually a divider, like a Jersey barrier between...
On the left.
Right, between the traffic that was flowing on the other side.
Yeah, like the express or the local, right?
It's not like you were even really stopping traffic.
Yeah, but I'm talking about these guys.
Go to the express.
We stopped it.
They used the actual traffic light.
I was kind of being funny.
As the start. The traffic light. When it goes green, they go through, and it's people coming the opposite way.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. And they're out there with tubbed out trucks.
Yeah, but they might have a 671 big block in it.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Well, I got to tell you, this has been a lot of fun. I'm glad you came, Anthony. I mean, I know it was really tough getting you here, but that's good. If you're busy, it's good. I mean, when he was bitching about what he was trying to get done, I said, I know exactly where you're at, dude. I know.
He's laughing. He's like laughing when he hung up.
Yeah, it's a rough business. So, I mean, look, plug your business. Anybody listens to this, they could probably all find you, but how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, DiSomma Racing Engines.
What's the phone number?
908-757-6937. It's actually 908-75-POWER.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Did you do that on purpose? You did. You dickhead. That makes it easy to remember.
And he's known all over, so.
Yeah. Yep. Well, look.
Around the world.
We'd love to have some of your guys come in. Like if your 275 guys want to come in, I mean, this is something we're going to continue with, and we're gonna have fun with it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And having good guests on, like 275 guy to me, I mean, kind of got to have your head examined. I mean, those things they got
wheelie bars.
Yeah, they got to be a handful.
Anthony, tell me who I can challenge in the South that you would love to have a rival race with.
Me personally, race.
Yeah, I want to see you in it, and I want, I'm crunched. So I'm gonna go and make it happen, just like I did with Billy Glidden. I had Billy Glidden on his toes. Yeah, you let me know.
All right,
you let me know, because we're gonna grudge race somebody down there. One race, one pot, get the cash.
Yeah, remember back in the day, or the same days.
Yeah, that would be great if we could actually set something up or call somebody out on here.
Because there's some fast guys down there.
Yep.
And since we're running 8th up here now, because the cars are so fast, it's not a bad transition. Yeah. They should be able to travel. We travel, whatever. Have some fun with it.
Yep.
Sponsored by this podcast.
Yep. And there's always a racetrack you can go to.
Oh, yeah. They have a lot of tracks down south.
Yeah. A lot more than around here. That's for sure. But listen, your guys, whatever guys want to do this, we talked about it. You're more than welcome when you have time, or like after a race, if you want to come in and just shoot the breeze. It would be really good if you can come back when Tom's here, because we got to fuck with him about this 200 this half mile thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the top
Mike
mile an
called me.
hour, the top mile an hour was what?
250.
240.
227.
Yeah,
something like that.
227.
Mike
yeah.
called me the one time. He's like, "How fast do you think you'd go in a half mile?" I'm like, "You out of your mind, dude?" I was like, I think the body would fall off in a half mile.
Nobody in the room would go the half mile in that car. we all like to live.
But there were questions of how much would a prepared track or a real track hurt
because
you?
it's an airport. It's not a track.
Yeah,
it's
it's
an
not a
actual
track.
airport with dirt on it. So it's not like you
He
have
said-
a surface that's going to help you cling to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He
that
said,
might
Well,
be-
you just like yeah, but you're not launching. You got a half a mile, so you just easy, gradually.
And that's what he said. He said that's what most people say. That's what he said.
yeah. But you see,
It's not true.
He's saying that most people that think that way when they go out there, they can't actually get the mile an hour the way they want. That's
Oh,
what he
really?
was telling. Yeah.
I said, listen, the guy's got a half mile. If he was going to run a quarter mile and it was prepped and everything else, he could go 275. You're telling me if he's got to drive it easy, he can't go 275?
Listen, I can't drive about 140 miles an hour at the quarter floor. It. I don't think. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
I'll just sneak in and prep the damn thing. It'll be fun.
You know, but it's at an airport, so
Yeah.
we don't actually know the
Yeah.
aspect of that airport,
Yeah.
and what that does to the performance.
but you could. I mean, honestly, you turn it down. You wouldn't run
yeah,
the
he's-
boost levels.
You should hear. He said all that. He said the guys come out there with a lot of power. They turn it down. They still can't do what these guys are doing.
The
So we're gonna see.
Yeah, the fastest thing was an Aventador. But,
Yeah,
you know,
they're made to do that, I guess. But
yeah, but I mean, like, he's-
all-wheel drive. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see it. Maybe he's right.
I
But I
can't.
personally can't see it.
If somebody said
I'm
to you,
thinking-
Because we're fast car guys. We'll blow the doors off of 227, right?
that's what I said to Tom. I said somebody's going to come there with a real race car, like a real drag car that's quote unquote a street car, and blow this right out of the box.
How
He's like,
fast
not
did-
going to happen.
How fast they go in the
Not the salt flats.
no, like the drag week thing. They go 6 somethings at 200 something, and they're street cars,
Oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
They've been
They
in
have
the
to drive
sixes.
all those miles to get there. So
There's
but-
one car. The guy that went in the
but they're
sixes
still
tows
at
a trailer.
They're still at a prep track with a lot of
Yeah,
grip.
that's true. Okay.
So this airport thing with a regular, it's like a regular street on any given day.
Yeah,
So
'cause-
it may play a factor in.
Yeah.
But just
the-
have the car
the
laying
gravity.
around next February. We'll drag it down to Florida and find out.
Yeah, because Tom was saying that like the guys would spin like for a quarter mile.
I can't listen. I personally,
Here we go.
no. I'm thinking. I personally don't. I mean, okay, I did an Aventador. We gotta get to do with Tom here. I got a lot of shit talking to do. you
Plus, it doesn't
you put
excite
a
us.
twin turbo kit on a Mustang. You're trying to tell me it can't go 200 miles an hour? Like on a Shelby GT500 or something.
I guess what he was
That's
saying.
what.
Eight,
That's
900
what. But
horsepower?
I'm telling you,
1,000 horsepower?
we have to have him here
Yeah, we'll have to.
because everything we shot out, and Mike is
you
technical.
can't hook it
I'm a
up.
mathematician.
You can't hook it up.
I'm always thinking of this and that. He shot us down. He said, all that sounds good. That's what these guys think till
Yeah.
they get there on the actual surface.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
it'll be interesting
Yeah,
to
we
see
gotta-
the conversation happen.
We got to adjourn this till Tom's here because this is going to be funny.
Yeah, man. Take us out, Mike.
All
Take
right.
us out. We
Look,
got a celebrity in the house. We got the engineer.
yep.
Let's go. Take us out.
I really appreciate it. Anthony, it was great to have you in. And again, I can't stress enough, everybody in this room I've known forever. I mean, Anthony knew Crunch didn't know Alan. Alan kind of knew Anthony, but I mean, the common link here is I've known all you people. And I'm thankful we get to do
all
this.
car guys, and we're still here. Amen.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening. If there's any 200 mile an hour and I want to keep saying 200 mile an hour, guys, because that's what Tom and I kept arguing about. You're not even going to go 200 mile an hour. If there's any half mile drag guys that ever hear this and want to call in, or if there's any of them from New Jersey, we'd love to have you in. We'd love to talk about this because that's another aspect that this is for sure going to go. So, all right, everybody, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. And anybody else got anything to say?
Nope, just thank you.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.